Ilara Voss adjusted the straps of her pack as she walked carefully along the rocky canyon. The planet was known for its vast cliffs and deep crevices, but also for rumors of dragons that had once guarded treasures beyond imagination. Most traders avoided the area, fearing the legends. Ilara, however, was not just a trader. She was curious, careful, and patient. She had studied the local terrain and knew that rushing into danger was a mistake. Yet, even she could not have prepared for what waited at the canyon's edge. A shadow fell across the path, large and moving with silent grace. Ilara froze. She knew the shape before she saw it clearly, a dragon, massive and powerful, perched on a cliff above her. Its scales shimmered in shades of silver and green, reflecting the sunlight in a dazzling display. Smoke curled from its nostrils, but it made no aggressive move. Instead, it tilted its head and watched her. Its amber eyes were intelligent, curious, and strangely calm. Ilara's heart raced, but she forced herself to stay still. "Hello?" she said softly, unsure if the dragon could understand her voice. The creature made no sound but shifted its weight, wings stretching slightly. It did not roar or demand gold. There was no treasure in sight, yet the dragon's gaze held a question as if it wanted something else, something Ilara could not name. Fear and fascination battled within her. Most humans would have turned and fled, but Ilara felt a strange pull, an instinct that told her the dragon was not here to harm her. She lowered her pack slowly, keeping her movements deliberate. "I'm not here to hurt you," she whispered, more to herself than to the dragon. It cocked its head, nostrils flaring, studying her carefully. The silence between them stretched, heavy with tension. Every muscle in her body was ready to react, yet she did not move aggressively. She knew that dragons could sense intent, and she wanted to show that she meant no harm. Ilara noticed something unusual. The dragon's wing was slightly tattered, and its scales near the joints had small scratches, as if it had recently faced danger or injury. The creature was strong, magnificent, yet vulnerable. Her curiosity deepened. Most humans would have seen a chance for gold or fame, but she saw something else. A chance to understand, to connect, to help. Slowly, she reached into her pack and pulled out a small bag of nutrient paste she carried for long trips. It was food, but it was also safe and gentle, something that would not threaten the dragon. The dragon sniffed the air as Ilara approached cautiously. It took a step back but did not flee. She lowered the food to the ground, keeping her hands visible. "It's for you," she said softly. The dragon studied the paste for a long moment, then bent its head to taste it. It was careful, deliberate, and polite in a way that startled her. Ilara realized this was not a creature driven by greed or instinct alone. It was intelligent, thoughtful, and aware. Encouraged, she moved slightly closer, speaking in calm, gentle tones. "I can help you," she said. "If you let me." The dragon hissed softly, not in anger but as a form of communication. It tilted its head, amber eyes locking on hers. She understood then that it was assessing her, judging her intentions carefully. She nodded slowly, showing patience and respect. "I won't take anything from you," she whispered. "I only want to help." The dragon shifted again, wings flexing, claws resting on the edge of the cliff. Ilara noticed the scars along its forelimbs and realized that it had faced conflict or accidents before. Its request was not for gold or trinkets. It wanted care, companionship, or perhaps understanding. She felt a rush of purpose. Most humans would have been blinded by treasure or fear, but she understood that the real value here was connection, empathy, and intelligence. Hours passed as she remained near the dragon, observing its behavior, offering small gestures of trust. She cleaned dust from its scales using a soft cloth she carried, careful not to touch wounds. The dragon allowed it, hissing only softly when she brushed near sensitive areas. It was a test, she realized. The dragon wanted to see if she was patient, careful, and trustworthy. She responded with calm actions, deliberate movements, and soft words, showing it that she was different from the humans it had likely encountered before. By late afternoon, the dragon had lowered itself onto a flat ledge near her. Its wings were folded carefully, and it seemed to relax slightly. Ilara took a cautious step forward. "We don't have to speak the same language," she said softly. "We can understand each other in other ways, through patience, trust, and care." The dragon blinked slowly, amber eyes bright as if acknowledging her words. It nudged the nutrient paste toward her, a gesture of trust she had not expected. Ilara smiled faintly. "I'll stay with you," she whispered. "We can help each other." The wind swept across the canyon, carrying dust and small rocks, but the dragon did not move away. Its eyes followed her carefully as though weighing the truth in her actions. For the first time, Ilara felt that she had earned its attention and perhaps, in a small way, its trust. As night fell, stars emerged above the canyon. The dragon settled on the ledge, curling slightly while Ilara sat nearby. They did not speak, but the silence was comfortable, filled with a shared understanding. She realized that most humans would have missed the dragon's true request. It had not asked for gold, treasure, or power. It asked for recognition, respect, and help. And in that moment, she understood that those were gifts far greater than anything found in the mines or markets. Ilara watched the dragon, its amber eyes reflecting starlight. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we start something new. We learn from each other and perhaps we both grow stronger." The dragon's soft hiss was the only reply, but it carried meaning. It was a sound of acceptance, of cautious hope, and of intelligence recognizing intelligence. In the quiet canyon, human and dragon shared the first connection, one that promised patience, trust, and an extraordinary journey ahead. Ilara, the careful and curious trader, had discovered that some treasures could not be measured in gold. They were found in understanding, empathy, and the bonds formed between unlikely allies. Ilara Voss woke early to the soft light of the planet's twin suns. The dragon was already awake, perched on a rocky ledge, wings folded but eyes alert. She watched it quietly, noting the slight scars along its scales and the careful way it shifted its weight. It was strong and intelligent, yet there was a vulnerability she could sense. The dragon had not asked for gold or treasure, it wanted something different. Something Ilara could almost feel but not yet name. She approached slowly, keeping her movements calm and deliberate. "Good morning," she whispered. The dragon's amber eyes followed her, observing every step. Ilara pulled a small container from her pack, a mix of nutrient paste and medicinal herbs. She placed it on the ground carefully. The dragon sniffed the mixture, then paused, lifting its head to look at her. It was not just hunger driving it, it was curiosity testing her patience and intentions. Ilara knelt on the rocky surface, showing she meant no harm. "I don't want your gold or your treasure," she said softly. "I only want to understand you." The dragon shifted slightly as if considering her words. Its gaze was intelligent and patient, waiting for her next move. Slowly, it nudged the paste closer with its snout, a small gesture of trust. Ilara smiled faintly, heart pounding. She realized that the dragon's request was simple in its meaning but profound in its value. It wanted care, attention, and recognition. The hours passed with quiet observation. Ilara helped the dragon clean small scratches and wounds along its scales. She used gentle motions, careful not to hurt it. Each time she worked, the dragon tested her, leaning away slightly, hissing softly, or shifting its weight. She responded with patience, speaking in calm tones, never rushing. Each careful action earned more trust. The dragon allowed her to inspect its wings, the delicate membranes that had been torn in some past accident. "You're cautious," she whispered. "But I understand. I won't force anything." The dragon blinked slowly, amber eyes glimmering in the sunlight. It leaned slightly toward her touch, a subtle acknowledgement. Ilara realized then that it was asking her to recognize it as a being with intelligence and feelings, not a creature to be controlled, captured, or exploited. She felt a surge of respect for its wisdom. Nearby, the canyon wind rustled through jagged rocks, but the dragon did not flee. Instead, it watched her carefully, moving its head slowly from side to side as if studying her. Ilara began to speak softly about the world outside the canyon, sharing stories of her travels, of other humans, and of the lessons she had learned about patience and empathy. The dragon listened, its amber eyes never leaving hers. Though it did not speak, she sensed understanding. It was communicating through observation, judgment, and trust. By mid-morning, the dragon shifted closer, resting one clawed foot near her. It did not touch her, but it allowed her presence without fear. Ilara offered the nutrient paste again, and this time the dragon ate more confidently. She laughed softly, a sound full of relief and wonder. "You don't want gold," she said. "You want recognition and help, maybe even friendship. I can give you that." The dragon huffed softly, a sound that felt like acknowledgement, like a conversation without words. Ilara realized that humans often overlooked the most important things. Many would have come here expecting treasure, fame, or conquest. She saw the truth. The dragon's needs were far simpler yet deeper. It wanted someone who could understand, someone who would care and act with intelligence and patience. She had learned a vital lesson herself. True value is not in riches but in trust, respect, and connection. The afternoon brought another test. A small gust of wind swept across the ledge, carrying dust and loose stones. The dragon flinched, lifting its head and flexing its wings. Elara spoke calmly. "It's okay. I'm here. I won't let anything harm you." Slowly the dragon lowered itself, relaxing its posture. She realized that it had tested her once again, her ability to remain calm, to offer reassurance instead of panic. By passing this test, she confirmed that she could be trusted. Elara spent the rest of the day repairing small injuries with careful touches, using improvised tools and natural herbs she carried. Each motion was deliberate, thoughtful, and precise. The dragon learned from her, shifting gently, testing its limbs and wings with her guidance. It flapped lightly, then landed softly, watching her with growing confidence. Elara noticed a change. The creature was no longer wary, it was curious, eager to explore the world alongside her, but still cautious. As the suns began to set, casting long shadows across the canyon, Elara sat near the dragon, tired but satisfied. "You didn't ask for gold," she said softly. "You asked for understanding, care, and perhaps, friendship. That is far more valuable than any treasure I have ever carried." The dragon lowered its head slightly, amber eyes glowing in the fading light, a subtle gesture of acceptance. Night fell, and the stars began to twinkle above the jagged canyon walls. The dragon rested nearby, wings folded, tail coiled, yet it remained alert. Elara lay back on the rocky ledge, marveling at what she had learned. Some treasures were not made of gold or jewels, they were made of patience, trust, and empathy. The dragon had shown her that the universe valued intelligence, kindness, and courage far more than wealth. Before sleep claimed her, she whispered softly, "Tomorrow we continue. We explore, learn, and grow stronger together. You trusted me today, and I promise to honor that trust." The dragon huffed quietly in response, a small yet meaningful acknowledgement. In that quiet canyon, under the twin suns and twinkling stars, a human and a dragon had begun a partnership built not on fear or greed, but on understanding, respect, and the promise of an extraordinary journey ahead. The next morning, Elara Vos woke to the sound of distant winds sweeping through the canyon. The dragon was already awake, eyes alert and amber scales glinting in the soft light. Its wings flexed carefully, muscles strong but cautious, as if it knew today would test both of them. Elara packed her small bag with supplies, careful not to make sudden movements. The dragon watched her every step, assessing, learning, waiting. Elara stepped toward it slowly. "Today we learn more about each other," she whispered. The dragon tilted its head, nostrils flaring, and huffed softly. It seemed to understand. She offered the nutrient paste again, placing it on the ground with gentle hands. The dragon approached cautiously, sniffing before taking small bites. Each motion was deliberate, a test of patience and control. Suddenly, a shadow passed across the canyon entrance. Elara tensed. A group of humans had arrived, armed with makeshift weapons and hover devices, clearly drawn by rumors of the dragon. Most would have panicked or fled. Elara froze for a moment, then focused. She realized that this was not just a test for her, it was a test for the dragon as well. It needed to judge whether she could protect it without anger, without panic, using intelligence and calm. The intruders moved closer, whispering among themselves. "That dragon is worth a fortune," one said. "If we capture it, we'll be rich beyond belief." They did not notice Elara standing quietly, observing, waiting. She knew the dragon's intelligence and instincts would guide it, but it also trusted her to lead. She stepped slightly forward, arms open, voice calm. "You don't need to take anything," she said. "This dragon is not for sale, and you will not harm it." The humans laughed, thinking she was powerless, but the dragon shifted slightly behind her. Its wings flexed in a slow, controlled movement, and amber eyes fixed on the nearest intruder. Elara did not flinch. "Calm," she whispered softly to the dragon. "We do this together." The dragon huffed, low and steady, matching her tone. It was learning from her patience and courage, understanding that restraint and calmness could be stronger than fear or aggression. The first human reached for a rope, intending to trap the dragon. Elara acted quickly but calmly. She picked up a loose panel from the canyon floor and rolled it in front of him. It clanged loudly, startling the intruder. The dragon reacted, stepping forward cautiously, claws scraping the rock but without striking. Elara whispered instructions. "Observe, guide, don't fight. Show them what intelligence can do." The dragon's amber eyes flicked to hers, acknowledging the strategy. The intruders hesitated, unsure how to react. Elara used the moment to move closer to the dragon, speaking softly. "You see? Strength is not just claws or fire. Strength is patience, thinking, and trust. Today we teach them that." The dragon nudged her gently with its snout, a small but meaningful sign of understanding. Together they remained calm, demonstrating unity and cleverness rather than aggression. The intruders tried again, this time throwing nets and small devices designed to entangle the dragon. Elara stayed steady, moving panels and debris to redirect their attempts without hurting anyone. The dragon moved with precision, avoiding the traps, learning from her guidance. Each successful evasion strengthened the bond between them. The humans' frustration grew as they realized their weapons and strategies were ineffective against this combination of intelligence and instinct. Hours passed as the intruders tested their luck, probing the canyon, trying to force the dragon into submission. Elara remained calm, guiding it silently with gestures, soft words and confident body language. The dragon mirrored her patience and control, proving that intelligence and trust could overcome brute force. Finally the humans backed away, muttering under their breath. They had learned too late that this was no ordinary dragon, and no ordinary human. When the intruders finally left, the dragon exhaled a soft hiss and lowered its wings. Elara approached slowly, brushing dust from her hands. "We passed the test," she whispered. "You trusted me and I stayed calm. We showed them that strength isn't just in claws or teeth. It's in patience, strategy and trust." The dragon blinked slowly, amber eyes bright and alert, nudging her shoulder gently. It was a sign of approval, a quiet acknowledgement that the bond between them had grown stronger. They spent the rest of the day exploring the canyon together. The dragon tested its strength, flapping wings lightly and leaping over rocks with careful control. Elara guided it through tricky spots, offering reassurance and encouragement. Each movement reinforced their trust and understanding. They were partners, learning from each other, and neither relied solely on brute force. The dragon had begun to see her as a protector, a guide, and a companion rather than just a human presence. As night fell, they rested near the canyon's edge, amber eyes reflecting starlight. Elara looked at the dragon and whispered, "Today we proved something important. Not just to them but to ourselves. We can face danger with intelligence and courage. And together nothing can break our bond." The dragon huffed softly, curling its tail around her feet, a silent gesture of trust and acknowledgement. In the quiet of the canyon, human and dragon had faced their first real challenge together. They had passed the test of trust, not through aggression or power but through patience, strategy and understanding. Elara realized that this partnership was rare and precious. Most humans would have missed it entirely, focused only on wealth or conquest. But she understood the true treasure, a bond built on trust, intelligence and courage that could survive any test the universe sent their way. The morning sun rose over the canyon, casting long shadows across the jagged rocks. Elara Vos stood near the dragon, watching as it flexed its wings and tested its balance. Its amber eyes followed her every move, full of intelligence and curiosity. After yesterday's encounter with the intruders, the dragon seemed calmer, more confident, yet still cautious. Elara smiled faintly, knowing that trust could not be rushed. It had to grow slowly, like a careful step across the rocky terrain. She approached the dragon carefully, kneeling to show she meant no harm. "Good morning," she whispered. The dragon tilted its head, amber eyes bright and alert. Elara pulled out a small container with nutrient paste and placed it on the ground. The dragon sniffed it, then ate slowly, glancing at her occasionally. It was not just feeding, it was observing, testing her patience and confirming that she could be trusted. After the meal, Elara suggested a short walk along the canyon edge. She gestured toward the path and the dragon followed, wings tucked neatly, moving with surprising grace. They navigated narrow ledges, rocky steps and shallow streams. Each time the dragon faced a difficult spot, it paused, looking at Elara for guidance. She extended her hand, pointing and showing careful steps. The dragon mirrored her movements, learning from her calm approach and steady judgment. During their walk, Elara spoke softly about the world beyond the canyon, sharing stories of distant colonies, human ingenuity, and the lessons she had learned from traveling dangerous lands. The dragon listened silently, amber eyes never leaving her face. Though it did not speak, Elara could sense understanding, as if it were absorbing not just her words, but her intentions, her patience, and her wisdom. At one point, a sudden gust of wind swept through the canyon, shaking loose rocks and dust. The dragon flinched, wings lifting slightly in alarm. Elara stayed calm, placing a hand on a nearby rock and speaking softly. "It's okay. We've faced more dangerous things together. You can trust me." The dragon exhaled slowly, lowering its wings and resumed walking. Elara realized that the dragon was learning from her calmness and reasoning, understanding that patience and intelligence were stronger than fear or aggression. They reached a small plateau overlooking the canyon, where the sun reflected off the distant cliffs. Elara encouraged the dragon to flap its wings lightly, testing balance and strength. The dragon hesitated at first, then followed her guidance, moving its wings slowly and deliberately. Each flap was precise, controlled, and gaining confidence. Elara clapped softly, smiling. "Good job," she whispered. "You're learning and we're growing stronger together." As they explored, Elara noticed minor injuries on the dragon's forelimbs and scratches along its sides. She knelt to inspect them, cleaning and tending carefully with the herbs she carried. The dragon remained still, amber eyes following her hands, trusting her gentle approach. It nudged her lightly with its snout, a sign of acknowledgement and appreciation. Elara realized then that the dragon's request had always been simple: care, recognition, and understanding. She was giving it that, and in return, it was teaching her patience, observation, and empathy. By midday they paused near a shallow stream. Elara showed the dragon how to drink safely without slipping on the slick rocks. The dragon watched, mimicked her movements, and then drank carefully. It was a small act, but to Elara, it meant a great deal. It symbolized trust, cooperation, and the growth of their bond. She spoke softly, "We're learning from each other. That's the strongest bond anyone can have, understanding and trust." The dragon huffed softly in response, a quiet acknowledgement that it agreed. Later, as they navigated a narrow ridge, Elara encouraged the dragon to leap across a gap. She demonstrated first, stepping carefully and landing safely. The dragon hesitated, wings flexing, then leapt, landing steadily on the other side. Elara clapped softly, praising it. "See? You can do it. Trust yourself as I trust you. Together we can face anything." The dragon nudged her gently with its head, amber eyes gleaming, a silent promise of cooperation. In the afternoon they returned to the plateau where they had begun. Elara shared more stories, this time about human inventions, strategies for survival, and lessons from distant worlds. The dragon listened attentively, occasionally tilting its head as if considering her words. Elara realized that this partnership was teaching her as much as it was teaching the dragon. Intelligence, patience, and understanding could forge connections even across species. As the suns began to set, painting the canyon in orange and gold, the dragon stretched its wings fully, flexing muscles now stronger and more confident. Elara stood beside it, hands on her hips, watching proudly. "We've come far today," she said softly. "You've trusted me, learned, and grown stronger. And I've learned from you as well. We're partners now, and nothing can break that bond." The dragon exhaled softly, curling its tail near her feet, a quiet sign of loyalty and trust. Night fell, stars glimmering above the canyon. The dragon rested, wings folded but alert, while Elara sat nearby reflecting on the day. They had navigated challenges, faced the unknown, and learned patience, trust, and cooperation. She realized that the dragon's true treasure had never been gold or riches. It was connection, understanding, and the chance to share intelligence and trust with someone who truly cared. Elara whispered softly, "Tomorrow we go further. We test our strength, our patience, and our bond. Together we'll face whatever comes next." The dragon huffed quietly, amber eyes shining in the starlight, a silent affirmation that it understood. In the quiet canyon, human and dragon had strengthened their connection, proving that patience, intelligence, and empathy could create a bond stronger than any gold, any treasure, or any challenge the universe might throw at them. The morning air was crisp as Elara Voss and the dragon stood atop the canyon plateau, the twin suns rising slowly over the rocky landscape. The dragon's wings flexed, powerful and strong, muscles trained from days of careful practice. Elara watched with pride, knowing that their bond had grown deeper than she could have imagined. They had faced tests, danger, and uncertainty, yet here they were, side by side, ready for whatever the universe might bring. Word of the dragon and her unusual human companion had begun to spread. Traders, miners, and travelers spoke in hushed tones about the human who had earned a dragon's trust without weapons, without gold, and without threats. Elara knew many would still come seeking treasure or fame, but she also knew the true lesson she carried was far more valuable. Respect, intelligence, and empathy could create bonds stronger than any wealth. That morning, a small shuttle landed near the canyon, its engines kicking up dust and small stones. A group of humans emerged, armed with scanning devices and curious eyes. They had heard the stories of a dragon that could not be bought, tamed, or controlled. Elara stepped forward calmly, standing between the newcomers and the dragon. "We've been expecting you," she said softly. But this dragon is not for gold or conquest. If you want to see its power, you must respect it and understand it. The visitors exchanged uncertain glances. One of them, a young researcher, stepped closer and spoke quietly. We don't want to harm it. We want to study it, to learn. Ilara nodded slowly, assessing their intentions. Then you will see that intelligence and cooperation are stronger than any weapon, she said. The dragon shifted its weight, amber eyes watching her carefully, acknowledging her guidance. It was ready to demonstrate its strength, not through aggression but through skill and understanding. Ilara gestured for the dragon to take flight. Its wings lifted slowly at first, then spread fully as it rose above the canyon. It circled gracefully, diving and gliding, showing control, precision, and power. The visitors watched in awe, realizing that this was no ordinary creature, and neither was the human who had earned its trust. Ilara guided the dragon through maneuvers, signaling it with subtle gestures. Each movement was deliberate, intelligent, and elegant, a testament to the bond between them. After several passes, the dragon landed lightly near Ilara. She knelt beside it, brushing dust from its scales. Do you see, she whispered to the visitors. This is not about wealth or control. This is about trust, understanding, and cooperation. Intelligence and patience are our greatest strengths. The dragon nudged her gently with its snout, amber eyes gleaming, a silent affirmation of her words. The visitors approached slowly, studying both human and dragon. They asked questions about how the bond had formed, how the dragon had learned to trust, and how intelligence and patience had overcome fear and aggression. Ilara explained each step carefully, describing how she had respected its space, offered help instead of treasure, and demonstrated calm and thoughtful guidance. The dragon remained close, attentive, and responsive, showing them firsthand that their approach worked. By midday, the visitors understood that this was a story not of gold or conquest, but of partnership. They saw the dragon not as a beast to be captured, but as a partner to be respected and understood. Ilara smiled, realizing that the lessons they carried would spread beyond this canyon, teaching others that patience, intelligence, and empathy could achieve what brute force never could. As the sun reached its peak, Ilara and the dragon explored the plateau together. The dragon tested its wings again, gliding over the rocky ledges with confidence and precision. Ilara guided it over tricky terrain, showing it how to use air currents and rock formations to move efficiently. Each successful maneuver strengthened their bond, and the visitors observed quietly, learning without interfering. In the afternoon, a sudden dust storm swept through the canyon. The wind whipped fiercely, making movement difficult. Most humans would have panicked, but Ilara stayed calm, speaking softly to the dragon. We can do this. Trust yourself and trust me. The dragon exhaled, flexed its wings, and navigated the storm with careful precision, rising above the dust and landing safely on the other side. The visitors gasped, understanding that intelligence, patience, and courage had made them both safe. When the storm passed, the plateau was calm again. Ilara knelt beside the dragon, brushing dust from its scales. We've shown them the true treasure, she whispered. It's not gold, jewels, or fame. It's trust, understanding, and the ability to face challenges with intelligence and courage. That's what makes humans strong. The dragon nudged her shoulder gently, amber eyes shining in the sunlight, a silent promise of loyalty and acknowledgement. As evening fell, painting the canyon in shades of gold and orange, the dragon and Ilara rested on the plateau. They looked out over the canyon, the wind gentle now, carrying a sense of peace and accomplishment. The visitors had left with new respect, carrying the story of the human who had earned a dragon's trust and taught others that patience and intelligence could achieve greatness. Ilara whispered softly, "Tomorrow we continue. We explore further, grow stronger, and show the universe what humans can do when we act with courage, wisdom, and heart." The dragon exhaled softly, curling its tail protectively near her feet. Amber eyes gleamed under the fading sun, a reflection of trust, understanding, and a shared legacy. In the quiet canyon, under twin suns and twinkling stars, human and dragon had created a bond stronger than any treasure. They had proved that intelligence, patience, and empathy could overcome fear and greed. The dragon had not asked for gold, it had asked for understanding, care, and respect. Ilara had given it that and in return had forged a partnership that would be remembered not for wealth but for courage, intelligence, and the power of human connection. As night fell, the stars reflected on the dragon's scales, glimmering like distant jewels. Ilara leaned against the creature, whispering softly, "We are stronger together. And the universe will remember that strength is not in gold, but in trust, courage, and heart." The dragon huffed quietly, eyes glowing with understanding. Together they had built a legacy that no treasure could match, a story of humans and dragons, trust and intelligence, remembered long after gold had lost its value.